Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to today's session on deep learning. So today, Padmavati ma'am will take today's lecture. Ma'am, I have given you the right so that we can start.
Thank you, Sakshi.
Welcome.
Is my screen visible?
Yes, ma'am, visible.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Let us start today's session on deep learning. Today we will discuss about the standard architectures. Okay, and in particular we will start with AlexNet. So before seeing the types of layers that have been used in AlexNet, let us try to understand why do we use these standard architectures in our uh, in our examples. Okay, or why do we go for using some already built in models. Okay, the first thing is these architectures are already trained on large data set. Okay, so that is the main reason why we focus on training our model using already built-in models, right? Because of computer resources. Because see, already if we want to replicate whatever has been done by the other models, right? Suppose they have trained already built-in architectures. If it has been trained on different examples like thousands, 10,000, 20,000 of examples, then we need to replicate the same thing. If I want to follow, if I want to build the model, we can always build the model. That is not an issue. But the problem here is to obtain the data set. Okay, creation of the data set is a big headache. And the second one is after suppose if you somehow you are able to create the data set, larger data set, but again it takes time for the learning. Okay, so in again the same process, you will initialize all your weights and biases randomly, and you do give your own data for training purpose. You will move, you give your input and try to check whether you have reached the desired result. If not, then you need to back propagate and again readjust the weights such that the loss should be reduced. So this process is time consuming process. Also they require computer resources, high-end computer resources. Okay, so because we need high-end computer resources, because the data set that we want to train may require a larger data set. Also it is a time consuming process. So for that sake, the term transfer learning has been introduced. What is transfer learning is already some authors or some researchers have built the model for on larger data set. Okay, suppose they have built the model on that larger data set, then what we can do is already they have trained on larger data set, hence they have gained or they have obtained good accuracy with minimized loss. The loss is very negligible. It is almost equal to zero. So for that sake, if I want to use that particular model for our to solve our own problems, then it will be very helpful in terms of, because we can reduce the time. I may not waste much time in for training purpose. Okay, I may not have to create the larger data set, and I may not even have to arrange for high end resources. Okay, because of all these we do focus on the already built in architectures. Fine. Instead of training from the scratch means the same thing, like give the input and get the result and again back propagate and again, so that we should be able to get the correct weights assigned so that the loss at the end is minimized. Okay, so instead of training from the scratch, use already existing or already created deep learning model, so that it which has been trained on larger set of images. Okay, so once we got that particular model, then we can import the model along with its weights, so that we can give our own examples and try to get the result. Definitely there we may need to do some sort of tweaking at few places. We will see how do we import the model, how do we use their weights to get the results. Okay, and what type of tweaking is required in the already existing model, so that I can solve my own problems. Okay, uh, in some sort of layers, like mostly in the output layer, we may need to change. Okay, we may need to suppose already built-in architectures, they have trained on larger data set, so that they got the accuracy and they got the good accuracy with minimum loss for categorizing 1000 categories. Okay, but what I need, my problem is binary classification. I want to check whether a particular person is suffering from cancer or not. So my medical image data set has only the problem has only need to distinguish between two classes. So instead of if we are using that standard architecture, because it is giving us 1000 classes at the end, so instead of that, what I want is, I only want two classes. So what I can do is, I can remove the output layer of the already existing model, and I can embed, or I can on top of the already existing layer. Other layers I will retain as it is, only I will remove the last layer, which is giving the output for 1000 categories. I will remove that layer. I will add one layer which gives me the output in terms of two classes. Correct. So these kind of tweakings are required. Based on our own need, we will we will try to modify the existing architecture. That is nothing but transfer learning. So we will be seeing first the architectures, few standard architectures, and later on, and by this weekend, we will also try to learn practically how do we achieve this for our own examples. Okay, so let us first take the AlexNet architecture. This architecture has done, or you can say, this particular architecture has been used to train ImageNet dataset. Okay, and as I specified earlier, also mostly this ImageNet dataset, it has 1000 categories, and each 1000 categories has 1000 images in each of the categories. Okay, so at the end, what I'm getting is, I'm going to get, if I put any of the images of these 1000 categories, it should be able to tell me, yes, this particular your input belongs to this category. Okay, so what type of input images are there in this ImageNet? ImageNet dataset has dogs images, a set of car images, set of bird images, or aeroplane. So like this, you can check in internet, you will find this ImageNet dataset, which is very huge and which has so many categories. And your AlexNet architecture has trained on that particular dataset, right? So AlexNet architecture, it is the this architecture is in 2012. It is the winner of the ILSVRC competition. Okay, this in this particular architecture, there may be many authors who have participated, but the authors who have proposed this particular architecture have got minimum error rate compared to others. Hence, they have been announced as winners of the challenge or this particular competition, right? So let us see what type of layers does this AlexNet has. AlexNet has convolutional layer, pooling layer, fully connected layer, and output layer. These are the standard layers that we have seen in convolutional neural network architecture as well. The same set of layers are also exist in AlexNet architecture. Okay. So in this input layer has dimension 227 into 3. It has 3 channels, red, green and blue channels. Okay, so the depth of the input image is 3, whereas the height and width are 227 and 227 respectively. So in the first, after the input layer, the next layer is convolutional layer. Convolutional layer, 96 different kernels have been applied, and the filter size, that is kernel size, is 11 cross 11, and stride rate is 4. Okay, so again, when we apply this particular kernel stride, this kernel over the image from left to right and top to bottom, we are going to get the output dimension. Okay, so let us see what type of output dimension we will obtain when we apply filter of size 11 cross 11. Okay, how many such 11 cross 11 filters will be applied? 96 such kernels will be applied. Okay, so we have already seen this formula. So this is the output dimension of width is equals to input dimension of width minus kernel width plus 2 into p padding divided by stride rate plus 1. So if I input all the values of these variables, w1 here is 227, filter width is 11, padding not mentioned, so 0 I will take, stride is 4, it's been mentioned, and plus 1. So width of the new image, that is output image, is 55. 227 minus 11 divided by 4 plus 1 comes out to be 55. Height, it is h1 minus f of h plus 2p divided by s. All variable values are given, so you simply put the values 227 minus 11 plus 2 into 0 divided by 4. Again, you will get the answer as 55. What should be the depth of the output volume? The depth of the output volume will be 96. Correct? It is 96. So this formula we have already seen, and we try to apply this formula for the other examples as well. So with the help of same formula, we are trying to get the output volume for this first convolutional layer. Okay, output volume is 55 cross 55 cross 96. If I need to show you visually, so before that, number of parameters are obtained. Again, we have seen how many number of parameters are required to write how many number of parameters which need to be learned. Okay, so we know filter size is 11 cross 11, and input depth is 3. So filter size, the depth of the filter will be 11 cross 11 cross 11 cross 3. That is, the depth of the filter will be same as the input filter, right? So whenever we are striding over the entire image, we need to consider over the depth as well. Okay, depth of the filter will always be same as depth of the input, correct? So to obtain number of parameters, how do I compute the number of parameters here? It can be computed using like the formula that we have already discussed. So it should be 11 cross 11 cross 3, that is depth, that is size of the filter, okay, and multiplied by the inputs. Okay, 11 cross 11 cross 3 plus this one is for bias and multiplied by number of kernels that we are using. So it comes out to be 34,944. Okay, so if you want to see it visually, the input for in AlexNet for the first layer, that is convolutional layer, first convolutional layer, when you apply 11 cross 11 filter of width 3 and stride rate as 4 with 96 kernels, okay, on this particular input 227, 227, 3, you will obtain the output volume 55, 55 and 96. Correct? Now, this particular input, this particular output volume, which has been generated by convolutional layer 1, okay, this will act as an input for the next layer. We will see what is the next layer. It has max pool layer, ML1, that is indicating max pooling, okay, and with kernel size as 3 cross 3, I will take the 3 cross 3 kernel and I will put it on the input image. The input image now will be this, okay. I will take 3 cross 3 and I will check in those 3 cross 3, that is 9 pixels, whichever has maximum, I will take that, okay. I will take that particular pixel forward in the next layer, for the next layer. So if we have 55 cross 55 cross 96, as we are applying, the pooling will be applied over each of the channels. That means each of the depth individually it will be applied. Suppose I have 2 depths. Okay, so first I will compute max pooling on the first layer, and again I will compile max pooling on the next layer, next feature map. Okay, if we have 2 feature maps, that is depth is 2, then I will be applying max pooling on both, right? So this 96 will remain same in the as the output of the max pooling layer, after max pooling layer. Whereas this input 55 cross 55, as stride rate is 2, so it will be reduced with this particular dimension, 27 cross 27 cross 96 we will be getting, okay. So visually, if you see, this is the resultant volume that you will obtain after applying max pool. Okay, so max pool here is 3 cross 3, stride rate is 2. So when you apply this, you will get from 55, 55, you will get 27, 27 cross 96. Okay, now this will act as an input to the next convolutional layer, correct? This time for next convolutional layer, we do have parameters. The values, that is kernel size is 5 cross 5. Padding here is 2. Okay, with 2 padding we are applying, and we are going to have 256 different kernels, right? So let us try to obtain the first. We need to obtain the dimension of the output volume when we apply this particular filter over the image, okay, that is input image. First we will apply the we will try to get the output dimension, and later on we will try to get how many parameters are required that need to be learned. So W2 is obtained using the same formula, that is here width and height and width are 27, 27. So it will be obtained with 27 minus of 3 plus 2 into the padding value, okay, divided by stride rate, if not given, will be considered as 1. So here it is 1 plus 1. So you will get width output as 27 only. Height also with the same formula, when you apply, you will get 27. Whereas depth, in this case, depth will be equals to 256. Okay, so depth will be equals to 256, right? Now you need to compute the number of parameters. When you compute the number of parameters, it will be definitely features the size of the kernel, that is height and width as to 5 cross 5, and size of the depth of the kernel will be same as depth of the input image. Here depth of the input image is 96, right? So it will be 5 cross 5 cross 96 plus 1 for the bias value, and multiplied by these many kernels will give you number of parameters for this particular layer. correct? 5 cross 5 cross 96 plus 1 multiplied by 256, you will get these many learnable parameters. Okay, if you want to see it visually, the convolutional layer 2, output of convolutional layer 2, when you apply the filter 5 cross 5 over this particular image with pad rate as 2, you will get 256 of, when you apply 256 different kernels, you will get depth of 256 and height and width as 27 and 27. Now, as you can see from this particular image, now output of convolutional layer 2, that is this particular image input will act as an input to the next layer. Let us see what is that layer is. See, next we do have pooling layer. Okay, in particular, they do have max pooling. We do have 3 cross 3 filter size and stride rate as 2. When we apply this, and this 27 cross 27 will now will become half of the size, because stride is 2, so it will become half of this particular size, that is 13 cross 13 cross 256. Again, you see max pooling layer, we do have 256 depth as in the input, as well as in the output we will get the same. Because why this happens? Because we are applying that 3 cross 3 over the entire 256. Okay, for that sake, depth will remain same as the input. If you want to see it visually, so depth and height and width have been reduced by half, whereas depth will remain same after using after applying max pooling. Next one comes is the convolutional layer 3, third convolutional layer that we are going to apply. Let us see the dimension of filters and number of filters that we are going to apply. So here we are going to apply 3 cross 3 filter over the entire image, and padding here is 1, and we do have 384 kernels. So when you apply this, let us see the input. Input here is 13 cross 13 cross 256. So when you apply 3 cross 3 cross 256 over the entire image, filtering over the entire image and computing the convolution operations, so what you will get is, you will get width and height will remain same as the previous input image, same as the previous input image, because here we do have padding as 1. Okay, again, when you compute it, you can even compute with the help of formula. It gives the same value, that is the output will remain same as the input dimension. Okay, W2 is equals to 13 minus 3 size of the kernel plus 2 into P, that is 1. Stride not given, then consider it as 1 plus 1. So it comes out to be 13. Width comes out to be 13. Similarly, height will also comes out to be 13, whereas number of channels here, number of kernels that you are applying are 384. So depth will become 384. D2 will be 384. Correct. Number of parameters, again use the same formula, 3 cross 3 cross. How many what was the depth of the input? It will be the depth of the kernel as well. So 3 cross 3 cross 256 plus 1 into 384. It comes out to be this. Okay, you can compute it and you can cross check at your end. So if you see visually the dimension of the output image, when given the input image as this, the convolution, when you apply the convolution operation, you will get this dimension as your output image. Okay. So let us see what's next in the AlexNet. Till now we have applied 3 convolutional layers and 2 max pooling operation on the given input image. Okay, and you are able to see after applying each operation, we are going to get some volume, output volume, and that intermediate output volume will become the input for the next layer operation. correct? So now output of convolutional layer 3 will act as an input for the next operation, whatever we are going to apply. So we are going to consider 13 cross 13 cross 384 as an input for the next layer, correct? So here we are going to get 3 cross 3, padding is 1, and we are going to apply 384 different kernels. So width, again you compute, you will get the same because padding is 1, and height will also remain same, and here D2 will be 384. D2 will remain 384. Number of parameters, very easy to compute. You can cross check it is cross check once. 3 cross 3 cross, the depth of the previous was 384, so 3 cross 3 cross 384 plus 1 bias and multiply by 384, you will obtain these many number of parameters which are learnable. Okay, now convolutional 4, when you have applied convolution 4 operation on the given input image, that is 13 cross 13 cross 384, you obtained the output volume same as the input volume because the depth has remained same. Why? Because we have applied same number of kernels. Okay, that is 384 kernels, hence the depth will also remain same. Why height and width have remained same? Because of this particular factor, right? The next one is next operation next operation that we are going to apply after convolutional fourth convolutional layer is fifth convolution layer. So here we do have 3 cross 3 as the filter size, and padding is 1, and we do apply 256 different kernels on the given input image. So width is will be equals to same as the input image, again because of padding factor, as well as you can substitute these values in the formula, you will obtain same, right? And height will be equals to 13, same as the input because of this factor, as well as you just place the values in like replace the variable values, you will obtain 13 only. Okay, D2 is 256. Number of parameters this time is 3 cross 3 cross because input dimension was 384, so you will apply the filter 3 cross 3 cross 384 plus 1 multiplied by 256, it comes out to be this value, this much value as my number of parameters for this particular layer. See, layer wise we are computing number of parameters. We have computed for all convolutional layer, we have computed number of parameters, but we haven't computed for max pooling because as such we are not performing any kind of convolution operation in the max pooling. We are only extracting the maximum value out of the from the neighborhood of 3 cross 3, 5 cross 5 or 11 cross 11, right? Hence you must understand number of parameters for all the max pooling layer will remain 0. Okay, if you want to see visually the fifth convolutional layer operation, okay, when you apply with these inputs on this particular input image, you will obtain this output, and this as an output image. Okay, see here we have till now we have applied 5 convolutional operations and 2 max pooling operation. After fifth convolution operation, we are going to apply the max pool operation. Okay, this is the third max pool operation that we are going to use. So when you apply 3 cross 3 on the given input image is same as this one. Okay, on this particular input image, whatever result of convolutional layer 5 will now become the input for the max pool operation. So when you apply 3 cross 3 on this particular 13 cross 13 into 256, you will obtain with a stride rate as 2, you will obtain the size of the output image as 6 cross 6 cross 256. Correct? So visually if you see, so the height and width have been reduced by half. Why so? Because of this this particular factor. P you have taken stride rate as 2. Okay. And you know the depth will remain same as the input, that is 256. So after applying 5 different convolution operation and 3 different max pooling operation, we do apply fully connected layer. Here it is mentioned as FC1. Okay, fully connected layer for 1. So how do we apply fully connected layer 1? Because it is in this particular dimension, height, width and depth dimensions. Because fully connected layer, to apply fully connected layer, what we need to do is we need to flatten this particular input. Okay, so how do I flatten? With the help of using vector. Okay, so I will take this 6 cross 6 cross 256 into single vector, which I obtain it as 9216. So 9216 multiplied by 1, because one vector we are going to create with these many neurons. Okay, these many neurons, when you apply a fully connected layer on these many neurons, 4096 neurons. Okay, so how many parameters that you need to have? Here no need to compute the output volume, because now in convolutional layer and pooling layer we do compute the output volume, but here we only need to deal with, like we used to compute the for feed forward neural network. All the neurons of the last layer will be connected with all the neurons of the next layer. So now we do have 9216 different neurons in this particular flattened layer, will be connected with 4096 different neurons. Okay, so here from here onwards we do have dense connections. All neurons, each neuron will be connected with all the neurons of the next layer, that is 409216 have been connected with 4096. So how do I obtain this? How many parameters are required? It's very easy to compute. All 9216 have been connected with 4096. So 9216 into 4096 plus bias is connected. One bias value is connected with 4096. Hence 9216 multiplied by 4096 plus bias value, that is 4096, will give me these many number of parameters. Okay, so this is the result when we apply first fully connected layer. After this, we do have one more fully connected layer in the AlexNet architecture, which also has 4096 neurons. Okay, this is the output of the previous fully connected layer, that is 4096. This 4096 is connected with the next hidden layer, that is with 4096 neurons only. So again 4096 into 4096 plus one bias value for each of these neurons will give number of parameters for fully connected layer 2. Okay. After this, we do have the output layer. Okay. In this, from this 4096 of the previous hidden layer will be connected with 1000 neurons of the last layer, that is output layer. Here also we do say it as fully connected layer, and I mentioned specifically as 3 because till now we had two fully connected layers. Okay, one with 9216 with 4096, second with 4096 with 4096, third one is 4096 with 1000. Why 1000? Because as I mentioned earlier, that this particular architecture, that is AlexNet, has been trained on ImageNet data set, which has 1000 classes. Okay, so for that sake, given any input image, one need to distinguish, or one need to classify which particular class the input image belongs to. Hence, we have taken, that is the reason why we have taken 1000, why they have taken 1000 as their number of neurons at the output layer. Okay, again, very simple formula, 4096 into 1000 plus 1000 will give me these many number of parameters which are learnable parameters. Correct? Overall, this is the architecture of AlexNet, and you can see we have already seen all the layers. Okay, just to brief you about all individual layers, I have taken 227 cross 227 cross 3 as my input image, and I have applied first convolution operation with these many values with filter size, stride rate, and number of kernels. I do obtain the result of first convolution layer. It gives me 55 cross 55 cross 96, and again on this, when you apply max pooling operation, you will get 27 and this and so on. Okay, this is what we have applied. We are able to get the architecture of AlexNet. Okay, AlexNet has 8 layers. Okay, 8 layers this is also known as 8 layers layered architecture. Why do they say 8 layer architecture even though we have more than 8 layer? If you can count 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 9 11, but why we are specifying 8? Because in any of the standard architecture, as in max pooling, as I mentioned earlier, number of parameters, learnable parameters are 0 in case of pooling layers. Hence, we never consider those pooling layer. Um, Pooling layer count is not considered in number of layers. Okay, so for that sake, only we do count convolution of layers and fully connected layers. 3 fully connected layers here and 5 different convolution layers here. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. 5 different convolution layers and 3 fully connected layers. Hence, these 8 layers comprises of AlexNet. Okay. These are the different references that I've used for today's session. With this, I will stop here. Okay. In tomorrow's session, we will see the next standard architecture, that is BGG architecture. Okay, Sakshi, I have done with today's session. In case of any doubts, I am ready to take.
Is there anyone having any doubt?
And transfer learning is very important, as most of the researchers, authors, they do use these standard architectures to solve their own problems, right? So it plays a very, very important role. And we all must know what are the different standard architectures which exist, and based on our own requirement, we can choose any of the architecture and we can like use them, right? Any queries?
मैम
Yes.
मैम जी कन्वोल्यूशन लेयर के फिल्टर्स के पैरामीटर्स होते हैं, कर्नल्स होती है, कैसे डिसाइड करने पड़ते हैं? जैसे अब हमने 5-6 लेयर ली, तो हमें कैसे डिसाइड करना पड़ेगा कौन सी लेयर में कितने होंगे?
Okay, good question. Here in AlexNet, as the authors who what they have done is they have considered the parameter values, these standard values. Okay, they might have tried on 3 cross 3 and 5 cross 5, 7 cross 7. Okay, and they might have checked the accuracy, and this is hit and trial basis, I can say, because in one of my earlier session, I informed you that all these number of neurons in each hidden layers, number of size of the kernels, all these will become will act as an hyperparameters. Okay, and how do I choose the hyperparameters? Based on hit and trial method. Okay, there is no standard way of answering that if this is the input size, then you should use this like this as an filter, okay, or these many filters you need to use. No, as such there is no standard values which are available. Okay, so all these days, what all these years, in fact, what we can do is we need to see, we need to first we need to roughly estimate how many parameters do I need to, how many kernels do I need to apply on the given input image, how many what should be the size of the kernel. All that need to be first checked practically. Okay, first I will keep 5x5 suppose, and I will check once, and like this I need to hit and trial it. That's it. As such, no standard way of way is given to us. Yes, any other doubt? Okay, all right. Sakshi, can we end the session now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, everyone. I have pasted the attendance link in the chat window. Kindly submit your attendance within the next 10 minutes. Thank you.